the Central Weekly, a weekly podcast from the Central Podcast Network. Ladies and gentlemen, episode number 90.
What?
That's right, 90 episodes. John Henninger, co-host extraordinaire.
Congratulations, Jared.
You've done it. You did it too.
You've done it.
Here's the deal, though. In order to celebrate 90, we had to bring in one of our favorite guests, Mr. Trevor, Family Ministries Ile. Renegade Ile.
90 feels like 10 away from celebration.
It does. You think we should keep going?
It's saying a little too early for the big celebratory.
Yeah, these guys are not letting the cat out of the bag. We are going to be wrapping up the Central Weekly sometime in this year. We don't know when, we don't know where, we don't know how, but we'll see. We're planning the finale soon in the 90s. Let's just say that. It's going to be in the 90s. But here's the thing. We're going to focus on episode 90 of the Central Weekly, talking all about a new series that we have at Central. We're calling Between the Pines.
That's right.
It sounds like an FX series.
I mean, if I had a nickel for every time somebody said, everybody that's heard this title already said, have you ever seen that Between the Ferns or Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis?
Yeah.
It also feels like an A&E show, like
Yes,
looking
that's
for
what I mean.
Sasquatch.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Between the Pines featuring Sasquatch, Renegade.
And the graphic design is very Colorado Patch-ish.
It's super cool.
Yeah,
That's
it's
I think it's an AI design.
Is it?
Aaron put
Looks
that
really
in
good.
there, and he put that, but we're looking at the Golden Pines if you haven't been
looks
to
really
Central
good.
yet. So we're going to be talking about week 1 of Between the Pines. Now, here's the thing. This episode, we're recording this prior to Thanksgiving.
Yes.
This is a Wednesday afternoon. Still smells like turkey in the building. My 5-year-old son, Tyler LaCrone, is sitting behind me in the podcast studio. So we're going to see how this goes. But this is what I'm anxious to talk about this sermon because it's
His
really
video's
good.
paused, Jared. I don't know if you need to unpause it or not.
He'll figure it out.
All right.
Trevor Ile, how many times have you done a after Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving weekend sermon? Is this the third
I
year?
think this is my third time overall, my second consecutively.
Oh, it's really just the second. Did you do the first one?
I don't know.
3 years ago?
I don't have a great memory.
Yeah. Because you did the Gate of Gratitude prior to Thanksgiving last year, or did you do it after Thanksgiving last year?
I usually do a Thanksgiving sermon pre-Thanksgiving.
Yeah. The table was 3 years ago.
Correct.
Gate of Gratitude was
Yep.
one before.
This is my
So-
third or fourth one, actually.
Yeah.
So you've never really done a Thanksgiving sermon, but it's usually the weekend after.
Right.
And it's
It's
usually
usually-
either a standalone or you kick it off.
I have done
This
multiple kickoff
Yeah.
Christmases
Yeah.
the day after Thanksgiving.
And he's always done a great
Always
job.
done a good job. I liked it too because we had you do a little bit of an intro via video, just
Right.
because to set the scene. Because you're looking at the maybe popular people, all but Abigail. Look that guy. Look that lady.
Anna.
Anna. Thank
Yeah.
you. See, I even threw her name because we're looking at her, but we're looking at common characters with uncommon, attributes that we've been looking at before.
It's kind of right. I mean, the premise for the title of the series, right, is there's a lot of information that we get just by reading the story, and then there's always like that sub story that you read when you read between the lines. You know, like kind of information that you gather.
Yeah.
And so that's basically this. It's stuff that you can understand by reading between the lines, but it's a Christmas series, Jared. So we're
Christmas
calling
series.
it Between the Pines.
Between the Pines. Here's the question I have for you, Trevor. Now, I asked John this last week. Favorite Thanksgiving item on the table at your house? John said the cranberry
Sauce.
Sarah's cranberry sauce.
Yeah.
And then I said stuffing.
Turkey,
Yours would be
turkey if it's smoked, and it is at ours.
I agree.
If
That's
it's smoked.
good. Where do you pick it up from?
Somebody in Wayne County smokes it. My grandma
good.
gets it, and I carve it and eat it, and then serve it.
Now, she's from Wayne County, right?
She is.
Okay.
Yep.
That's her roots.
We have deep Wayne County roots.
Grandma Barb. She's an institution.
Yep.
Because here's the thing. I think very rarely, I don't even remember if I've had a smoked turkey.
I don't like regular turkey.
I know that's good. You can get it dry, pretty dry.
Turkey's
if
too dry.
if you do it
traditionally.
Yeah. I like a ham.
I'm a dry guy. I like a dry turkey. I would prefer a dry turkey to a moist turkey.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I like to see the orange specks of like the smoke and
Oh yeah, a little seasoning on the top.
it just
Yeah.
I had a fried turkey
And
the other day.
Okay, yeah,
Like
that's the
deep-fried
danger
turkey.
one, right?
I'd never had
That's
one.
super dangerous.
yeah.
I think it's dangerous to make it. Yeah. But I felt fine eating it. And it
We had two people
it's
that
pretty
passed
good. Yeah.
that were gone. But So here's the thing: we're going to get into this, but it's a good lesson. But before we do that, the Central calendar is really stock full. We're like we said, we're looking into the Thanksgiving. You're probably listening to this after Thanksgiving, so we hope that you're enjoying your in-laws. But maybe that's not so. Maybe you went for a walk on a Sunday night and you're listening to the podcast because you just needed to get out of the house. I understand that. I've been there. But here's the thing: lots going on. The things that we're wrapping up right now are the toys for the kids. Which is kind of cool that we played on something a little more local this year. Whitney Hodge, if you go back and listen to her episode from last year at this time, actually, oddly enough, we weren't helping her last year when we brought her on the Central Weekly. This year we are. But Jefferson County's Toys for Kids, it's a way that we can help kids right here in our community. And man, our atrium is stacked full of toys.
It is.
It's like so much so that we organize them in a fancy way.
Yeah, I mean, it helps. I mean, it helps you understand how much is really there.
Yeah.
And how much the Central family is brought in to bless kids in our community
and
our own community.
The thing that we're doing that we didn't get a chance to tell you last time on the Central Weekly, every gift that's a Central gift is getting a or is it every gift? I don't forget if
everybody who shops for it gets the opportunity to have one.
So we have this QR code, and the QR code, says Merry Christmas, and it has a link to our website that you can read the Christmas story. Because not a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, where is the Christmas story in the Bible?" Might even have a Bible in front of them, but this way it'll go right to the website on their phone. They can read from Luke 2 and have that as a special memory around maybe the Christmas turkey, the Christmas ham.
Yes,
or the tree. That's probably where it is. Key thing: you both have had your trees up for quite some time.
Yeah,
that's good. I'm homeless right now, so I don't have a tree. Well, I mean, the in-laws just she never puts up a tree prior to Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's how it was growing up for me.
We'll get that out on Friday.
Trev, how'd you guys do it growing up?
Probably right around Thanksgiving. It could have been right before or right after.
Yeah.
But probably right after.
I'm a big fan of Friday. Big fan. You've cleaned up, put all the fall stuff away. Boom, Christmas.
I mean, we're going to eat Thanksgiving dinner at my house this year.
Yeah, you are for first time in a while, right?
With Christmas trees everywhere.
Yeah, that's how we do it at Central.
Yeah, it's true.
Because it just really, it works out. It always works out that we start the Christmas series. And really, you want it to be Christmas-fied after Thanksgiving here. So we always have to decorate prior to, because there's just so much going on. You don't want to have to bring staff and stuff in on a Friday to decorate. So other thing that we got, this is the reason I'm bringing this up too, Fantasy Football Watch Party. Tell us a little bit about what this is. I don't think you've talked about this on the Central Weekly before, but basically it's a chance to get together with the guys and watch some football, all about family and relationships.
Yes. We do this a few times, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, last year 5 times, this year 3 times during the season, and it's just an opportunity for us to get together and eat together and hang out, talk to some people that honestly, every time I sit through one of those, I end up talking to somebody I haven't talked to either in a while or very often or just don't know as well. And we sit, well, sometimes it's 30 minutes, sometimes it's an hour, and sometimes it's 3.5 hours. We sat there together and we ate and hung out, and you kind of get to learn people's names that you don't know and place people in their lives. And fantasy football, I've said it before, is a vehicle for conversation.
Sure.
Yeah. You could do it next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Are you going to do put you on the spot? Here's how I'm putting you on the spot. You're also the new thing that I wanted to talk to you about are your men's breakfasts happening at the airport.
Yeah.
You had about 15?
13 or 14.
And again, I want to say that's a big deal if it's at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday.
Yep. First Tuesday of the month.
That's some committed guys.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it was good. A good foundational
And again,
start.
it was some guys we had never seen before, any of our other men things, or not like on our Tuesday night group when we were doing those, which we have pressed pause on that at the moment.
Yeah, and that didn't get a chance to make it into the newsletter this time, but you're having one in December.
Yeah, first would be that December 5th?
December 5th, yeah.
It's the first Tuesday.
And then you've also got, you're going to do one in January. So it's the first Tuesday.
First Tuesday of every month.
Every month. So I think that's a great
6 a.m. at the airport.
I need to make it over to the Bonnie Cafe airport because I think they remodeled. Did you notice? Maybe.
It was dark or my eyes were heavy. I'm not sure.
He was too much about relationships.
6 a.m. on a Tuesday. So.
Here's what I want to talk about, too, before we get into the sermon. The 222 pathway that James unveiled for us this weekend at Central. Now, this is super cool because, go ahead.
Well, a couple weeks ago, Colin unveiled the wheel.
Yeah.
Colin, unveil the wheel. And he did. The wheel of family. Like that.
Yeah.
This week, James, unveil the 222 pathway. And he did it verbally.
Side note, were you looking for the bigger one, the bigger wheel?
Yeah, that got thrown away, evidently.
It was.
I found it.
No!
It was not a good wheel.
That Hayden made.
Correct.
It's behind the stairway. If you take your
It needs
the
to
back
be
stairway,
It needs to be trashed.
Oh wow!
because I was like, oh, this is what John was like, because it's huge. It's like 6
I was
foot
told
tall.
it was thrown away.
Yeah, kind of
Hopefully is.
dismembered and thrown away. So the 222 pathway.
Yeah.
I said it right. This is really just, I love how you guys put this, is the pathway that takes you from interested, I'm interested about it, to involved. Intrigued, oh, I like that. To involved, I said that wrong. Interested to invested. Intrigued to involved, and from new to known. Why is this important for us at the Central family, John?
It's kind of obviously there are differences in the way that everybody's going to kind of work their way into the Central family, but
It's
if you're
not a sequential thing.
It is.
Doesn't have to be.
Yeah, it's not essential, but it is sequential.
Wow.
So like the way that this is kind of like if somebody just had no point of reference, right? Like, how do I go from like walking in the door for the very first time to making this really my church family, right? And so this is kind of the basic pathway to get you there. You spend 2 minutes in the blue room, and then your next step from there is to spend 20 minutes at this thing that we're calling 20 Start, which is just kind of something that gives you the basics of Central, lets you ask some questions. It's 20 minutes long. So 2 minutes in the blue room, 20 minutes at 20 Start, which will be once a month. And then after that, your next step to integration in the Central family is to commit 2 hours once a week for the duration of a group session. So 2 minutes in the blue room, 20 minutes at 20 Start, and then 2 hours once a week for a group session. And that really leads you to the point where, Lord willing, you're involved by that point. You're serving, you're connected with other people, and you are fully integrated, assimilated, all those words.
Yeah, I think it's super important too, because it's essential in what we're doing now, because there's so many new people that are coming to Central, and they really don't know what Central's all about other than the weekend, and that's great. And other maybe with groups they got into a little bit about that. But here we can all say in one area, this is what the Central family believes. This is how we move forward. This is how we talk about baptism and our faith and stuff like that. And I'm excited for it, because this is something that James and his outreach team has prayed a lot about and have gone back and forth on different things. And I love this how we came out with it, because when we were talking, I think what you said was super good, because you said the 2 hours a week with a group, or in that 6 to 8 week format. When you get into a group, you're more likely then to get involved with serving.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think James and the crew have done a really good job on this, because I think it's a really easy to understand sequence in how you get connected here at Central. And for a long time, we've needed a direct step, the direct next step. I come to the blue room, now what? We've said, well, let's get involved in groups, or let's come to whatever it is, but now your direct next step is on the next time we offer it. So the first Sunday of the next month, come to 20 Start.
That's what I like about it too. It's something on the calendar every single. So if you showed up the first of the month, you've only got a couple weeks until we do it again.
Right.
And again, it's an intentional thing. We're just trying to be intentional about discipleship. And this is really, I think it's going to be good. And the Loft, if nobody's familiar with that, is a brand new room, the newest room at Central Christian Church, up on the southwest corner of the lobby atrium area. You go up the steps and it's there in the corner. They've walled that room in, put a couple doors in there. It's going to be nice. So easy for people to find, because I started coming to Central. I know I was an adult when I started coming. You were too, John, but you were hired here. We went to the parlor and saw Jamie and Tammy Allen.
Really?
That's how
about
we started.
that?
Because they said after the sermon, go see us in the parlor, and we did. Oh yeah, Tyler. Okay, I can't help you. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Let's get into the lesson. Okay, so I loved how we got into. We talked about this with our Christmas trees. Christmas season is earlier and earlier. There's that 2 week period where Halloween decorations almost mix with Christmas decorations, because people don't always take one down and put the other up. Sometimes they'll put the Christmas up and then they'll leave a couple things out.
Yeah.
It's super weird.
I just feel like Christmas is a 2-month event.
It really is.
And that's why I think Thanksgiving is a 3-day event, and that's why it gets steamrolled.
3-day event. Yeah. That's it. And
Sarah makes a really good point, though. I mean, she decorates for every season, every holiday. But proportionally, she has far more Christmas decoration than any other holiday. And so just to make it worth it, it has to be out for a little longer.
Yeah. So we're moving soon. We're going to be moving. Our house might close the first week in December. So that's coming up really quickly.
It really is.
First thing I'm supposed to do, no, I'm not supposed to paint. No, I'm not supposed to, shampoo the carpets. Normal things that you do when you move into a home. First thing I am supposed to do is hang up Christmas lights outside.
Wow.
That's the first thing she wants me to do. Because, so Trevor's laughing. But so I'm going to get on a ladder to a brand new house. But yeah, okay, so here's the thing. We also, lots and back and forth. I liked your timeline of basically how you were saying, hey, we're going to look at Mary because she's the subject of this lesson. Mary Magdalene. No, she's Mother Mary. Wrong Mary. So it's
half
more
correct.
confused. But I like that you gave us a little pretext in, okay, here's what happened before Mary. Here's what Luke 1 looks like. So go into what was your reasoning between bringing in all those characters at the beginning?
Normally, when you hear about the Christmas story, you just think Luke chapter 2.
Yep.
If you're familiar, if you grew up in church, if you've heard the Christmas story read anywhere, you open up your Bible Christmas morning, or we used to read through it here on Christmas services.
We will.
Well,
Yeah,
we
this
still
year.
do.
Yep.
And it's basically Luke chapter 2. But the Mary's main portion of that comes from the angel visiting her in Luke chapter 1. And so as we said, part of my responsibility was setting up this entire Christmas series.
Yeah.
And so just trying to set the entire scene. You think of Luke chapter 2, but today we're looking at Luke chapter 1.
Yeah.
And here's where we see where the angel appears to her. I tried to bounce back and forth, also letting you know it's connected that the angel appeared to Zechariah and Elizabeth first and let them know that a baby was coming. And the responses are connected but different. And so, we're just trying to get that. And I wanted to set the stage for Luke as credibility as an author, because I think it's fair to point out that
He's a smart guy.
well, he's not only is he intelligent and well researched and very academic, but I mean, an angel's never appeared to me and said you're going to have a child. I mean, this is not something that we are accustomed to and know about firsthand. And to read that and be like, are we sure that's the way that exactly went down? We give some credibility to Luke and their eyewitness accounts and their thorough research and such.
Bible question, you have to answer this.
Okay.
Who's smarter, Matthew or Luke?
Luke.
Oh, I thought you'd go back and forth a little bit. I mean, Matthew was a tax collector.
Yeah.
Had to be pretty smart for that. But he probably cooked the books a lot. So, I mean, he's a different man. My chosen segue for this, it's really cool if you watch the Christmas special that they did, their second Christmas special, and it's all about the point of view from Mother Mary. And it's basically she's telling her story at the end of her life of how she came, but I don't think they really kind of slide over in the Chosen a little bit about that angel visitation. They kind of just have a light and stuff. But anyways, but side note, they go to Luke, and basically Luke is writing his story, and he needs Mary's testimony before she passes away. So they go into Luke's got this almost like royal hideout that he's at, and he's in there scribing out. It was just really cool because he looked like a really smart not Midwestern, but Middle Eastern doctor. It was super cool. And I love that I love that you started that way, Trevor. Trevor's helping Tyler at the moment. But here's one thing I wanted to say too. I too think it's super cool. John, have you seen the Christmas Story in Branson? The Christmas Play Story.
I think I have. Yeah.
Have you seen
we did.
No, I've never been to Branson.
Didn't we go together?
We did.
Okay.
What did we go last time that you didn't come? What did we go see?
I don't remember.
We went as a creative art staff the second
Esther?
time.
Did you see Esther together?
No.
I don't know.
I don't know. But so we've seen it together with the
We
angels.
stayed in the same hotel room. Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
Okay.
Clear. Go ahead.
But I liked it because no, they did. Okay, what we saw was the traditional Christmas one.
Yeah.
Then we went back as a creative arts and we saw a different Christmas one.
Okay.
This was more like a pageant. Because the reason I bring it up because they do a really good job of telling the story of Elizabeth and Zachariah.
Oh, okay.
You didn't see that.
I saw the one where they do I thought a creative angle at spiritual warfare
we
before
did see
the
the same
birth
thing.
of
Yeah.
Jesus. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, where they zapped each other in the. Yeah, we did see it. Okay, anyways, the reason I bring it up because again, I like that we're telling the story, the pre-story with Zach and Liz.
Zach and Liz.
If this was in the 90s, it
Or
would be
VeggieTales.
Zach. But it was super cool because again, we're starting to start a pretext of why Jesus came, and John was his cousin, second cousin, they believe, right? And the reason why he came was to bring about
to prepare the hearts of Jesus.
John the
For
Baptist.
Jesus, yes.
John the Baptist, not John Henninger or the Apostle John.
Right.
But, okay, so here's where I think you guys really get into the nitty-gritty of the sermon. 2 highlights from the angel visit with Mary. And Mary was confused and disturbed, but then you also have the visit with Zechariah. He brought in the fear and the doubt.
Yes.
So you kind of put those 2 together, and I think it was really cool how we looked at that.
When I first read it, I thought, I knew of it in theory in my mind without like reading it over in detail. And I was like, okay, so I'm reading it and I'm like, he asked the question.
Yeah.
He had doubt or whatever. He asked the question or whatever. And then I thought, well, maybe Mary didn't. Maybe Mary just said, yeah, okay, great. And I was like, and then Mary basically asked a question. I'm like, well, they both asked the question. They both expressed confusion. What is it that separates the two? Why wasn't he allowed to speak until the rest of the pregnancy? But that's when we got into looking some things up. 6-year-old James. Yeah. And, more of a not how is this going to be, but I'm not sure if this is really going to be, was his angle.
So the question, one question with Zach, his question led to doubt. Thus he muted.
Yes.
And then the other one with Mary, she had questions, but then it led to her
faithfulness and obedience, walking it through, saying, I'll be your servant, and whatever you say about me, may it be true.
Yeah. And I think, and again, we always gloss, maybe we don't, but I always seem to gloss this over. She's a young girl at this point.
Yeah.
This is not like
Young
an
girl,
elderly
not married.
woman. Yeah, exactly. And she knows what's probably a baby in her belly at this time in her life with the marriage situation that she's kind of in, what that's going to look like. But yet she's not full of doubt or discouraged. She's ready to go.
On the outside, there's nothing good about it for her.
Yeah.
There's no positive.
There's no upside.
Yeah, no upside.
Except for the Son of God, the whole thing. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
being physically pregnant.
Exactly.
In the exact moment of life she's in.
Yeah.
Then I liked, because you bring it in to life today, because those same characteristics that they demonstrated when they were visited by the angel of questioning and doubt and going through all of that with our fear and being disturbed with these things, those are still our life today in everything that we do. And you kind of go in, so what were some of those things that you went into about our life today?
There's confusion, doubt about our current situations that we're in right now, about our future things that are to come that we are praying for or thinking about or hoping for, wishing for, whatever you want to call it. And then there are other situations where we have already gone through it or we're recovering from, and you're like just as confused. How am I going to pick up the pieces and move forward and work through this grief? Yeah,
I thought that was such a good parallel to draw between what was going on with Mary and even Zechariah, and just the state of our culture today. I mean, you said confusion, fear, doubt, all parts of today's society, which is just, couldn't be more true.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
And I think too, it was interesting how you brought in your own life with the internships. And before you get into that, it really, when you were talking about that, it really harkened me back to when you were talking about you're a planner and your trips, and you don't know what's going to happen, but you're still in it. I think there was some really neat parallel. They just came to my mind from I think that was the last time you were on the Bound.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But so let's talk internships, okay? John, before we get into, because we kind of knows ours. John, did you have any internships?
No, because I really left and did it,
That's what
it sort of qualified because I guess you could call it that, but it was a interim position at it. So my home church in Pennsylvania needed an interim person for over the summer, which I worked underneath some other pastors in that whole thing. Yeah. So I guess that's my internship, but it really was also more of just kind of on my own. Just
did you get paid?
Underneath? Not much. Yeah. I don't think if I did.
Because I did the same thing. We're talking about this was not an official internship.
Yeah.
I just basically, they were paying for my college
in
Bible college, and they asked, did you want to do this? And I said, well, I kind of have to, right?
Right.
And I didn't get paid because they were paying for, part of my schooling. But it was good because it gave me, but that was my first in the real world church experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then with Trevor, I was in the same boat with you. You're looking at, I didn't think with a dual major, you got to do both internships.
Yeah, I did. It was tough.
So you did one in Marion, you did one in Texas?
The Texas one was not my formal internship. That was just something, a personal one I did on my own.
Okay.
So I ended up doing one here in town through what is now Sparrow. It was back when it was UMCH.
I remember that. Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yep, I did a family services type thing, it's a very similar thing to the foster care program, but it's for children who are not in foster care, but it's at-risk kids that are still at home.
Was that your final thing? Like you moved back knowing you were doing that and then you were going to graduate?
No, that was summer of 2009, and I finished up in December of 10. So actually, I ended up doing my psych internship at Sparrow before my youth ministry internship at Cornerstone.
Because I think we met when you were doing that. I think you came in, I was leading a D group, you sat in on that D group.
So that's when I was working at LCFS.
Oh, see.
So, which I was doing 2 years of foster care casework, which is essentially the same type of thing, but I couldn't land. So what I didn't tell, so the internship was a process. Landing a job after internship was another process.
Yeah.
And
what was the church in Vegas?
Canyon Ridge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Canyon Ridge. And like, honest to goodness, and I don't say this in a hostile term, the guy had a heart attack.
Oh, gosh.
And he survived, but
he wasn't ready to lead a residency.
He vanished. I mean, out of the world. Like, he just kind of went on and like never reached out to me. Like, I found it out through Facebook.
Oh.
And then like he didn't go back into work for a long time.
God, you didn't
and so I was just like, I guess I'm not going. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
Like, we had been on the phone multiple times. I had been out there. I was out there in January, and I was supposed to start in May.
Wow.
And it just didn't happen.
I mean, that's completely exactly. I mean, hold on. I thought mine was difficult. Yours was really, I mean, mine essentially, I was getting a degree in, biblical preaching just because that was going to be the easy general one. For some reason, Cincinnati didn't have a general ministries at that time. I think they did later toward the end. But I needed that. So I needed to find a pastor, but I was married at the time. So I needed money. Like I needed to get paid.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I wasn't, and a lot of people had started their budgets already by the time I was looking come February, March. They said, oh, sorry, if you would have came back, if you were here in like November, December. And then so basically I had to rely on a smaller church that needed a youth minister. And so I kind of did half of that while he did some, teachable things and let me preach a couple
Back
times.
in the day, it was tough to find a paid internship.
It really was.
I didn't find one, neither one of them.
Yeah, and now that's what I mean. Going to what Central does, it's not an internship; it's a residency where they're doing their school. While they're working at the church and getting all that experience. Gosh, man, I am so envious of that for them because that would have been amazing to do that. Because again, I liked my being on campus maybe for 2 years.
Right.
By the time you're in that fourth year, you're like, I just really want to not be here on this campus anymore. Nothing against that, but you're just ready for the real world, and you're ready, and because you're learning about what the real experience is like, and you're like, I just want that real experience now. So,
Yep.
But anyways, you wrapped it up with some major health concerns that you've been seeing around stuff that we've been praying for as staff, pastors, volunteers, and that is the truth. We talked a little bit about this last week, John, just about how much stuff, physical stuff that we're praying through with our people right now, and it's hard.
It feels like everywhere you turn.
Yeah.
So prayer cards that have come through, or just people we've talked to, or people that we know, or
volunteers.
Yeah. My own family went through it towards the end of the summer. It's just a lot.
Yeah. And I love that your ending was just a big old exclamation point where you said, "Take heart, church." Kind of go into what you were thinking about, how that's the reason why how you wanted to end and land the plane.
Yeah, we just, ultimately, I was trying to draw the parallel. The whole reason that Jesus, we're talking about his birth here, it's Christmas time. The whole reason he ever came to earth in the first place was to overcome sin and death and give his people life. And so in that, the war is won.
Yeah.
And we we deal with a lot of mess and yuck between during our time on earth. But in the big picture, the war is already won.
Yeah.
And if you have hope in Jesus, then you have hope beyond these cruddy circumstances that we seem to be seeing everywhere that we turn right now.
And that's the thing with the people that we're praying for. I see so much hope with them. It's like I'm almost like, wanting to feel when I pray with them and like I call or text, I'm expecting more desperation from them, but I'm getting a lot of peace, calm, and hope in a lot of their responses from them. And like you said last week, none of their circumstances are changing right now. The Lord might bring some healing, but right now they're praying and they're, in those circumstances, but there's still hope there and there's still thankfulness in there. Not thankful for all circumstances, but thankful in all circumstances.
Right.
I think that was a good parallel for people that heard that last week and then to hear your words again this week, Trevor. Super good. So good stuff. As always, the relief pitcher, Trevor Ile. You're a righty, right?
Correct.
So I tap my right arm if I
Correct.
want to bring you in from the bullpen.
Correct.
Do you like the bullpens being out in the outfield? Because that's 29.
Now you're getting into Trev's.
29 of the 30 ballparks have, right? Am I right on this? I'm a ballpark guy.
The only one that I know of for sure is Oakland has theirs out, but they'll be moving to Vegas
They'll be
officially
gone
in 3 or 4 years.
Speaking of Vegas,
Speaking of Vegas,
they're getting everything.
they're getting an internship
Yeah.
in Vegas.
Did you watch the Formula One?
No, because it didn't start till midnight. I tried.
Well, I think they're trying to pick up. They know most of their crowd's going to be Europeans.
Yeah,
probably,
I actually
right?
texted a friend. I said, "Why is this not starting till midnight?" They said, "They got to appease the Europeans who actually watch this."
And Vegas really isn't up until midnight. I mean, let's be
That's
honest.
true. If you're in midnight, you're up.
Yeah,
Or you're in Vegas, you're
that's
up
your
at midnight.
peak time. But anyways, that was a complete side note. I'm excited about this series. And again, it's hard. I remember Jamie Allen just saying, I don't know what it's December Christmas series are hard, but I like what we're doing now. Look at some of the things that we don't normally look at this time of year. I think that's super impactful. You're on the mound, keeping with it next week,
Correct.
and then James.
Nope.
No,
Then
two.
me.
You're two. Then
I'm on 2.
And then
Yeah, so Trev's kicking off the series, and then I'm going to preach 2, then James will preach 1, and then it'll be Christmas at Central Time.
Christmas at Central.
Yep, Christmas at Central. The
With
best
all your
time.
friends and
the
family.
23rd, 6 and 8 p.m.
Yeah, December 20th through the 23rd. Did
Are
you
they
say-
different services?
No.
I did
Come on,
four.
come on. Nope.
8?
Four incredible nights.
8 identical services.
I think we flipped it. 8 identical services, 4 incredible nights.
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe we'll look at the notes here. But here's the thing. This is the time of year where we need to be inviting. People are more welcome and more open to coming to church this time of year.
That's true.
So this is the time we need to be, hey, let's be using the invite cards. Let's be using our text message, sliding some DMs. Is that something you do? Is that a bad thing? Did I just say something bad?
Not in a vacuum. It's not.
That's good. Next week, speaking of, no, okay. Now I'm going to change this whole thing.
All right.
Episode 91 next week. I'm super excited. We're going to have John back on the mound, like we said. But we are, and I wish we would have been able to work this out when you talked about mental health and our mental state a couple weeks ago in the sermon. But we've got one and only Susan Dalrymple.
Oh, wow,
planning
that'll be
on
great.
coming on the Central
Yeah,
Weekly.
should be great.
Here's what I did, and I think this is really important. I told her, what do we need to talk about? I wasn't going to give her a list of discussion
Nice.
points. I said, Susan, you tell us what
Smart,
we should be
Jared.
talking
That's
about.
smart.
And man, she was like, oh, my mind's going because I'm going to ask the Holy Spirit about this. So I'm excited about that conversation because Trevor, this is something that is just growing in our culture about people that are just lost with their mental health. And this is the time where the church can step up in big ways. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Yep, it's going to be great.
So let's wrap it up before. Do you want to say hi, Tyler? Can you say hi quietly?
Hi.
That was
Perfect.
really good.
Talk to me.
Good job, buddy.
You're doing
I
great.
can't hear you.
We'll see you back here. Thanks a lot, Trevor, for sitting in. We'll see you back here next week for episode 91. Thanks for listening. Bye, guys.